Thank you, Stuart. I couldn't have done it any better. And I try to be complimentary and not to repeat things, and just focus on some additional practical aspects of animal identification. So we call my presentation the Toolbox, what you bring to the field. My name, Bolscher, I'm from the Netherlands, and the story of my life is animal identification. I've been doing this since I started walking, and worked with market leaders in this field, and practically was active here since electronic identification came to the market. Datamars, our company, has similar history since 1988. Strong focus on electronic identification. Make all our own products in our own facilities. We design, manufacture, and market these products. And the only thing we do is animal identification, visual or electronic. We have two divisions, livestock identification and pet identification, or anything what's in between, like horses, camels, wildlife, fish, could be in one of these categories. Being a Swiss company, our standards of quality are the highest you will find in the market. We are here to share the experience, like Stuart said. We bring millions and millions of tags, experience, and many years to you. We'll be happy to share. We've been driving the ISO standards. We are an ICAR certified supplier. On the electronic tags, we carry EU type approval. For many programs in the world, we have accreditation, like here in Africa, Botswana, Namibia, Kenya, South Africa, some North African countries where we are approved and supply. And we carry a range of readers which are integrated in the most common databases. The tools, the basics, electronic device or visual device for electronics, a reading instrument and an interface to your database. That's as far as we go. From step 3, we hand it over to partners who run databases better than we can. But we help and support them to integrate. We carry a range of tags, visual, electronic, bolus and implants. There is a range of management tags which are not for official purpose, usually bigger and more colorful, a range of applicators and a range of readers, which I will come back in more detail. This has been discussed all week. What is the advantage of tagging compared to traditional identification methods? I think in our case most important is the machine-readable aspect, whether it's electronic or barcode or numbered. There's international standards. With tags you can have sequential numbering, individual numbering. You can add data on the tag if you want. And maybe an important aspect of tagging is there's no skin damage compared to branding. The bolus, being discussed also many times, in fact is the device with the highest possible retention and highest possible tamper resistance. It's a fact. But in practice, the ear tag is the most common device, so we'll focus a little bit more on that. Using identification devices, what is your objective? What is the goal? You want to have lifetime identification. You're spending money and you put a passport on an animal and you want it to stay there forever. So the retention you want to be as high as possible. You want to avoid losses. That starts with step 1, like Stuart said as well. Where, how, when, what. Practical things. So what we do, we provide training to achieve that. We train the trainer. We train your technicians on all these aspects, what is needed. And to come to a result, which I was happy to read on the internet last month, Gabarone, the acting Assistant Minister of Agriculture, stating that losses are of insignificant numbers. Training topics where we would look at is to avoid losses by ensuring rapid wound healing, like looking for the proper location on the ear, restraining, avoiding infections, that sort of things. Restraining is not always easy. These are luxury farm equipment, but what we see here is most of the time is something like this, where you have to live with, but try to make the best of it. When to tag, practical things at birth, or at least when the animal moves from the property of birth, combining it with other treatments so you don't have to handle them twice or 3 times. When there is restraining availability, anyway, avoid fly and mosquito attacks and ensure that the animal is in good health when you tag. When we read specifications or requirements from official institutions in tenders or whatever, you will always find these type of requirements written. You want the highest retention, you want high security, anti-fraud, you want high durability, resistance to sun, to temperature, to chemicals, you want electronic tags to perform at a good distance, you want to ensure animal welfare, you want the laser marking to be readable, and you want it to be easy to apply. And that's why we have a team of engineers to put all of that in a small device like this. It's incredible. So looking at some detail, the locking system, you want it to be secure, so it cannot be manipulated. When you start to try pulling them apart, the male part will break, so it cannot be reused. Mechanical resistance, still you want the tag to be sitting on the animal and not get ripped out. The material, you want to be durable, so the color stays and the material stays in its original shape. Physical and dimensions, you want the tag to be as light as possible in order to avoid retention, to avoid losses. So what we try to achieve is the highest possible performance compared to weight. So a light tag with the biggest read range. And all of this is tested in the procedures and test houses defined by ICAR. And it's amazing that they can write a report of 50 pages about a product like this. But it's all there. And if it's not defined by ICAR, if there's local additional requirements, like EU pass, and for Canada, for USA, we will have it tested locally in addition. Tag choices, there's many choices, but like Stuart said, keep it to what is available to keep life simple. In our case, that would be a secure tag on the left, the alpha line, and the flexa line is a little bit more simpler tag at a lower cost level if it's for farm use purpose only. Management tags, one-piece tags, two-piece tags, writable with pen or printed. The tissue sampling example, you take a punch of the ear, goes in a container which has a chemical which mummifies your sample, so you can store it without refrigeration and send it by mail to the laboratory. Applicators, several options. These two are the most common, cattle or sheep application. So retention, that's the story. Still, retention, 100% with ear tags is practically impossible. 1 or 2% is acceptable. If you are in a situation where you lose more and it's getting unacceptable, you could look at alternatives, like the bolus, which gives you practically 100% retention. An implant, being a problem in the food industry, still it is an alternative. And since last year we also carry a leg band for sheep and goat, visual or electronic. This sample is adjustable, so while the animal grows, you can increase its diameter. The reader portfolio, from basic readers giving you a number in the screen and store it with the date and the time, up to data collectors where you add data like filling out a form. The form you define yourself, and the future readers coming will be talking to your phone. So the intelligence is in the phone, and the phone is online, so you work practically online while collecting the data in the field. So we hope altogether we can help you change the landscape. Thank you.